Welcome everyone, what's going on? This is the third edition of how to build a demon level in Geometry Dash. This video is the updated 2018 version that will give you every little bit of advice you need to make your own demon and even potentially get it rated. Of course, your success does not just depend on me. It will depend on how dedicated you are and how much experience you've had, but I can give you plenty of good tips to help you get started. So I'm going to jump right into it without wasting any more time, and we are going to build a demon. So get ready for this, dude. It's going to be pretty sick. Yeah. Woo! So before you build anything, you have to step back and think about one thing. What kind of demon do you want it to be? Do you want it to be a skill or a memory demon? I'll explain both of these now. So a skill demon is basically about skill, as the title implies, so it's kind of obvious, but yeah. I mean skill as in fast speed, tight flying spaces, tight wave spaces, tight cube jumps, big jumps, anything that involves skill and levels of skill. A good example of a skill level would be Acropolis, which is quite a tight level, and it requires a high level of skill. You can't just jump into it with a low level of skill and expect to beat it. The other common type of demon level that there is out there is a memory demon, and these demons basically depend on how good your memory is. An example of a level like this is Killbot, which is one of the recent extreme demons that basically you just need to have a great memory. There's so much to remember. So confusion would be your best friend when building one of these levels. So yeah, today we're going to be doing a skill demon because I think they're a bit easier to explain and easier to start off with. And yeah, you don't need too much experience to be able to make fun gameplay and a good demon. So now that we've decided which type of demon we're going to be doing, we're going to jump in and do gameplay. So gameplay is the first thing that you want to do apart from deciding what you're going to do. And basically I've already done mine here, as you can see. So I'm going to give you a run through and show you what I've done, and I'll show you what it looks like before any decoration has been added. So as you can see, I've used speed and timings to help me out in this one. It's going to be a basic skill one. It will be a little difficult to learn at first, but it's a lot of fun to play, and you want to basically do that. So gameplay, you want to make it well synced to the music, but you also want to make it kind of sight readable. So no off-screen jumps like this, none like that. You don't want to be doing those. They are not fun in a demon level, and it's much better when you can see the gameplay that's coming up. So basically you want to be able to see what's going along. You don't want to have off-screens like that. Off-screens can be used in memorization levels, but it's much more preferable to not use them. When I talk about gameplay sync, I mean tapping to the beat. So where I've put the jumps, as in here, here, and here, you'll see that they're synced to the music. Another tip when building your layouts is also to use plenty of speed changes like so. So we've got this speed changer here and then this one here to make it slightly faster. As you can see, it's used in a bit of an intense part of the song where we don't need to tap anything, and they can be quite useful for making your gameplay. Another thing you want to do when making your gameplay is to make it look appealing. Not only does it need to play well, it also needs to look nice. So I mean adding little aesthetic extras like these here, and just to make the block structures look good. You don't want to make them messy. People can make bad gameplay and it can really ruin the look of a level's design. So these are all the things you need to keep in mind when building a layout, and you'll be fine. That's all the tips I can give you for making the layout. So when you're making gameplay for a flying part, which I haven't explained too well, you want to use tight spaces. So you can either make them nice and wide or tight, like you can see here. It gets big to small. So what you want to do is not use too much straight fly. A lot of people don't like straight fly. They don't like the idea of it because it's utilized for 144Hz monitors, but you can use plenty of other alternatives to make your level hard. So use straight fly in moderation. Try to be creative with your block structures and flying parts. So say you could use slopes like this. I'm just going to build a little thing here. You could use slopes in a kind of different way and then add spikes. Don't limit yourself to only oblong structures. You want to also use slopes as much as you can, and they can look really cool. So here, for example, we've built a sloped flying part. As you can see, be creative with your structures. Also, I recommend using jump rings sometimes when the time occurs for making gameplay in ship parts. They can also be pretty cool. Another thing to note with flying parts is that speed can sometimes mean it's easier. So an example of this is, say we've got a 4 times straight fly like this. It will be easier than this, a half speed straight fly. As you can see, we'll play both of them and we'll see which one is easier. So as you can see, the 4 times speed is a lot easier as it goes a lot faster. So sometimes the more speed in a flying part, the easier it can be. This isn't always the case, but most of the time it will be. Alright, now we're going to move on to design. So designing your demon level, what do you have to do to design it? This is a bit more of a difficult stage in your level building process, but with a bit of practice and a few tips, I'm sure you can do a great job. So we're going to get into all the steps you need to design your demon level. So you've made your layout, and now what you've got to do first is your block structures. And these are basically like the outline for the blocks that you're going to be placing. So as you can see, what I'm doing here is I'm just placing the outlines where the block design is going to go in. It's kind of like a little guideline, and you will be using these in your design. So I recommend doing this first, or just building them into your layout if you want to. It takes a little bit more time, but it can be cool, so yeah. Now what I'm doing here is actually adding my 3D lines straight away, which is not a normal thing that I do, but I'm going to be doing it for this just to make it nice and simple and easy to see. So we're doing 3D lines first, right after we've done our block structures. So that's what you should probably do, just follow my lead. And now that I've done the 3D line outline, what I'm doing here is placing the inside blocks for the 3D lines, and a little tip that I'm going to do here is make the top lighter than the bottom. So the top part is going to be light and the side will be a bit darker, and this is basically to add a little shading effect. And you'll see the finished product, you see how I've made the sides kind of darker, a different color than the top bit. This is what I like to do in most levels. It just adds a little bit more depth into the 3D lines, and I think you should give it a go. So once you've made 3D lines, I like to adjust these little orbs and jump pads and anything there is here. I adjust them by moving them back a few blocks so they kind of look like they're in the middle of the 3D block. So that's what you might need to do with a bit of stuff from your layouts, like spikes and just stuff like that, Next, I'm going to be moving on to the ground spikes. And what I'm going to be doing here is just using a basic one. So you can see all these black ones over here. You had a nice selection. I'm just going to be using this basic one here, and I'm going to be adding a few little extras. So I'm going to be getting these things here, these spiky things, and just adding them in, adding a few more extras, just kind of making it a bit more full. So see, I'm adding some more black spikes, just making it a bit of variation in the ground. And yeah, I'm going to cap it off with a little glow on top here, just a really small glow, nothing too special, but just adds a little tiny bit more. Okay, moving on to colors now. I'm going to start out by choosing a background. So, I don't know, just choose any background you feel like, and choose a ground too. I'm going to be choosing this one there. And it just doesn't really matter, honestly. It's up to personal preference what you choose. This level is going to be a light green, kind of in between green and blue. And what I'm going to do is make my background kind of dark, so dark green. And for the ground, I'm also going to be making it pretty dark. So same old dark green for ground 1 and a little lighter green for ground 2. So that's basically how I do my colors. So while we're on the cool subject of colors, we're going to be doing pulses. And basically this is pretty simple. What I like to do is just get the background color, make it a little bit brighter. So as you can see, I've put it around halfway up the color wheel. And we're going to add a bit of fade in here. Do whatever you like for fade in. I like to use 10 fade in, 50 fade out, like you can see here. It makes a nice little pulse, as you can see. Works pretty well, and it's really simple. So that's all we're going to be doing for pulses today. So what I'm doing here is adding a little bit of 3D line decoration. So I'm going to make one of these little things here, and I'm going to place it around inside the 3D line color. So as you can see, it adds a bit more variation. You can see it's just a nice little detail. You can see how it's just added a little bit more. I'm going to be also putting that on the other side. So yeah, as you can see, if you just look, it just looks a little more detailed, like a little more attention to detail, and it just, it's a nice little addition that I would recommend you giving a go if you're building a level. Okay everyone, we're doing block design now, and this is a bit of a tricky one. So I made a Building with Lemons episode quite a while back on block design, so I suggest you go and watch that. I'm not going to be making a specific tutorial for block design today, but I will do a little speed build of the block design that I've done here. I'm going to chuck that in so you can see what I did for this level. And yeah, if you don't know how to make a good block design, I'd maybe go and get some inspiration from some other creators, or watch my block design tutorial video, because I think there's a few helpful tips in there. And yeah, try and make a good block design and try and match it with the style of the level that you're making, I don't know. Okay, on to saw blades. And now saw blades are something that I like very much. They are very cool. And what I'm doing here, I'm placing one of each here. What you want to do is have a large one, a small one, and an extra small one. So I've placed them down, I'm adding a bit of glow. What you want to do is just kind of stack decoration on top of each other. Just experiment, basically. The more experience you have, the more you know what works and what doesn't. So what you can see I'm doing here is just kind of placing random stuff. So this little tab here, this saw blade tab, has plenty of stuff you can do. So I'm placing another saw blade on top of this one, just to make it kind of unique. It's still not really that unique, but it does work. And what I'm trying to say basically is just experiment with these saw blades. And once you've made the saw blades, place them onto their own layer and then place them around the level. I've made little guideline markers here for my saw blades in my layout, and you can do that if you choose to. I wouldn't really recommend it, but it does make a little more aesthetic help when you're placing saw blades down. So place them down and then delete their markers, and you're all good, mate. So what I love to do in level decoration is add these cool arrows. I've made one right here already, but they're pretty easy to make. Make something cool and unique. Try not to copy what I'm doing, but just make your own arrow, place them around. They fill in the space really nicely. I find them to be great little decoration assets. So I would recommend experimenting with them, giving everything a shot. I also like to place little arrows in the gameplay trail. So as you can see, I'm placing these tiny ones around everywhere, just making them kind of trace out the pattern of the gameplay. This is another great tip for filling in space and making a cool decoration. Also, another thing that I'm doing here is adding little grass blocks around. I really like these little bits of decoration because I can make them a different color and they make it look a little more full and a little more cool. And you know, I like them a lot, really. You should give them a go. I think they are awesome little grass blocks and, you know, they're cool. Yeah, I should really work on finishing off my sentences. While we're adding some more decoration here, I've decided to chuck in some extra stuff for my ground spikes. I'm pimping out my ground spikes with some cool monster dudes and they're just chilling there. And look at him, he looks quite happy if you ask me. Look at him, this bloody random monster on the ground. Hey. So one of the last things that I'm going to do here is moving objects. Now that we've got all the decoration and all the block design done, I like to move the objects around, make the level feel a little more alive. So what I'm doing is just getting the move triggers, moving the blocks to where they're going to start, and then assigning where they're going to move to with the X and Y. This can be a little intimidating for beginner creators, but once you've worked out how the X and Y coordinates work for moving blocks around, it's actually quite simple, and you get the hang of it real quick. So start practicing around with moving objects. You can make your level look a lot more alive and interesting with them. Alright, last but not least is the custom background, and this is going to be very simple actually. I'm just placing some simple blocks, but it's still kind of unique because you don't see this used that often. I'm going to be placing these super simple blocks and making cool structures out of them, and then simply making it move. I made a custom background tutorial if you want to go watch that to have some help, and yeah, that's basically what I'm doing here. It's going to be very simple, and I've already said that, you know what it looks like, but it's still effective and kind of cool, so that's going to be the last thing for this demon level. That was super awkward, I'm not even going to lie. Okay, so the level is now done. Well, the first 3 seconds of the level is done. But anyway, that doesn't matter. I'm just showing that to demonstrate how to build a demon level. So that was the finished product. Not overly decorated, not too simple either. It's just a simple way to start out and a nice, easy, clean way of creating that I think can work nicely for beginner creators. So yeah, if you didn't know, this tutorial is aimed at beginner creators. If you're an advanced creator, you probably know most of the things that I've said. But yeah, I thought I'd share some of my knowledge having, you know, like 10 rated demons or something. But yeah, making demon levels is good and fun, and demons are cool. Well, yeah, you know, I hope this tutorial helped you out. I hope I could share my knowledge effectively with you guys, and I hope you enjoyed it too, because I put a lot of effort into this video. Must have spent like 10 hours in the editor or something, I don't even know. But yeah, I enjoyed making it. You know, I'm quite proud of it. I hope everyone will enjoy it and learn some new stuff, and I kind of already said all this stuff. So yeah, anyways guys, I'll see you later. I hope you have a good day or night, and you know, peace out. See you later. Hey.